Woohoo! Here we are.
Welcome to Cancer Opportunities, where we explore a journey of living with cancer and discuss healing from the intersection of body, mind, and spirit. I'm your host. I'm Alan Rojas Yakolka, and today our special guest is Raya Williams from the UK. Welcome, Raya.
Hi, good to be here.
Thank you. And just to start with, let's talk about a little bit about you. So, will you tell us a bit about who you are in general?
Who I am? Well, as you said, I'm in the UK. I'm also a logo synthesis practitioner, as you are. I've been using logo synthesis for about 3 years now, and it was just one of those things. I heard about it and I thought, I have to know how to do that. That's amazing. And so I kind of dropped everything and went and learned how to do it and got certified and everything. It's just life-changing. I just found it life-changing. It's like, sometimes you don't know what you need until it arrives, really. And it was like that. So.
Yeah. And
that's not who I am, though, is it? Not who I am.
Well, it's part of. I get
part
that.
of who I am. Yeah,
I can resonate with that.
I don't know what to say, really. I write, I paint, I read a lot.
And you get people to heal and develop.
And I help people to heal and develop. Yeah.
Thank you. So I like that you start by talking about logosynthesis, because what gets us together today is to talk about this little book, which is beautiful, which is Cancer Opportunities. And I know you know it very close.
I do. Yeah.
It's written by Jenny Delmar Rispens. And of course, it also talks about logosynthesis and some other things. And from all the first readers, and this set of interviews is a conversation with precisely the first readers, those who have the first reactions to the book. Among all of us, you have a particular perspective, because just as a first reader, you also host a different perspective, another position. Will you tell us about it?
Yes, I met Yanni some time ago, and she told me about her book, and she wanted to have an English version because it's, far more common language than Dutch. So she asked me if I would have a look at the translation. Not that I translated it, because I don't speak a word of Dutch, but she gave me a translated version of it, and asked me if I would edit and check through it and review it and everything. So I sort of turned it from Dutch to English.
Which is a feat in itself.
It was a bit of a feat, but I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed when I've been reading books that were originally written in a different language than English is that it can be so challenging to convey the ideas in a language that is easy to read and that the reader can connect with. And this version is beautiful. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Great work.
No, it does take a bit of adjusting too, and you do have to rephrase things, and you do have to really think about it sometimes, because not everything translates, and sometimes there's like a common saying or something in one language and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever in another language. And you have to think, you think about the reader, and particularly that book, Cancer Opportunities. It's like people have had something really terrible happen to them. They've had a shock, and they're maybe probably not feeling very well or something like that. So you have to think, how would I want somebody to speak to me if I was feeling like that? So I had that in my mind a lot of the time when I was doing that, because it's like, having experienced chronic illness myself, not cancer, but another thing. It's like a lot of the time you don't process information very well, and you don't feel good, and you don't remember things necessarily. And it's like, I just had all that in my mind, like a real image of, like you
Yeah.
just want to care for your reader in a way. You want to just look after
Yeah.
them. And it's all very well, giving somebody a book, but it's a different thing as to whether they can actually receive it. So I was
Right.
very, very
Right.
conscious of that.
Yeah. I think in a previous interview, I shared that cancer has been very present in my family field. And of course, my grandparents and aunts and uncles have gone through that. And I resonate with what you say in terms of the language that we choose to use when we are talking with someone who's living with cancer. Like language is so impactful. I mean, the way we treat others or
Mm,
accompany others in their moment-to-moment
mm,
experience does make a difference, and how the words we choose and how we approach it.
yeah. And suddenly everything becomes medical. You're having to go to the doctor and you're having to go to the hospital and you've got all these medicines that you can't even pronounce. And it's like
Mm,
the last thing you feel is like a medical thing. You're actually very aware of who you are as a person more than anything. And, you're
yeah,
aware of your family and where you are in society and what you need and, what's helping and what's not helping. It's like, and I think people tend to medicalize everything. It suddenly
yeah,
becomes, oh, you're ill. You've become this other person, this sick person. And you were
mhm,
just ordinary yesterday. It's like the words really do make a difference.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So much is happening that people lose themselves in the experience
Mm,
and they disconnect from themselves. So let's approach that part a little bit because it is part of the book about
mm,
dealing with what happens in the journey of cancer and reconnecting to yourself and how that
mm,
helps.
mm.
Will you tell us a bit about your experience when working with that part in the book?
Yeah, I just found this book very I don't know what the word would be. Just a really good variety of subjects because you get the three parts. You get um, general information, you get general kind of relevant health information, and you get Yanni's personal diary, her actual experience of what happened to her, which is
Mhm.
amazing because it's like you just get to read. It's like you just get a window into her life at that time and everything that was happening and everything that was happening in her family, and what she was thinking on her way to the hospital and what happened when she was there. And normally you wouldn't ever be privy to that information from anybody. You might know somebody went to a hospital or something, but you wouldn't know anything of the level of what happened. And then you have a section on that includes logosynthesis. And it really explores different aspects of um, just things that are really important that can affect your healing. So it addresses issues of, family relationships and things in the past that may have happened to you that you're still affected by.
Mhm.
And there are things that which, they may have happened a long time ago and they may be things that you didn't even think about for a long time, but having a life-threatening illness will suddenly bring all of that stuff to the surface. Um,
Mhm.
and it's almost like one trauma triggers all the rest.
Mhm.
And she guides us through this process of just dealing one by one, very gently with these things, and just
Mhm.
resolving some of those and taking off some of the weight and the burden. And she addresses things like, like you can have family that come along and they believe they're helping you, they're doing something with all the best intentions and the will in the world, and actually what they're doing is really stressing you out. And she just gives guidance on, how to deal with that and how to approach that and how to advocate for yourself and, communicate what you want and to actually think about, what's helpful and what's working and, what might you like, and it might be something different than you normally do, and that's okay. And it's like this whole just very gentle process of how to process the things that are happening to you. Like you can have a bad doctor's appointment just because the doctor's in a bad mood, and it's bad enough as it is without having somebody's bad mood on the top of it, and how to kind of just separate yourself from all of that kind of stuff. Just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I know that we're not supposed to spoil the book, but if you could spoil just one little bit to tell someone why they should read this book, and what would you say?
I would say this book is like, and Yanni is like the friend you need. This is like the person walking along beside you, or actually more like sitting in a beautiful garden, because she's included all the beauty of her garden in this book. And it's like sitting in a beautiful garden with a really good friend who's just been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and they're just walking you through. They're just reassuring you. They're giving you all, advice that you maybe didn't think to ask, or you were worried about, but you didn't know who you could tell. She's just walking you through step by step by step. And it's not like, it really is just like chatting to your friend. And she has such a soft, she just has such a soft, gentle energy as a person. And that really comes through. And it's like, that would be the thing, when you're stressed out and when you're sick and you don't know what's going to happen. That's just the thing you need. You need the reassurance, and you need to know, at least somebody gets it, and somebody's been here before, and I can just receive, from their experience and what they learned.
Yeah. And while discussing this, let's say, vulnerable part of the experience, what touched you from the book?
I think just her kindness really came through, and her energy, and she just has such a genuine warmth, and it's almost like she needs to, like she doesn't want anybody else to feel, all of the bad stuff that comes with that. She wants to just do anything she can to make someone's experience better.
Yeah, I agree. She's just really generous in what she shares.
Yeah,
she's not holding anything back, and what can be found and read in that book can be truly life-changing.
It'll just totally transform you, really transform your experience.
Yeah. And I can dare to say that it's not just for people living with cancer, but I would even extend it to people living with maybe other chronic illnesses or illnesses in general.
Yeah, if you've got some long-term health condition.
Yeah. Because it takes you from the moment that you receive a diagnosis through the treatment part, and how in any of those stages you can be triggered by different things, and how you can deal with such triggers in a way that you recover, like you recover your health, your courage, your kindness, or your, the clarity to go through the experience and, deal with it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to keep this short and sweet.
Okay.
So
I mean, we could talk all day. We could.
I know. I know. It's so true. So to wrap up this part, what would you tell someone in your final words about this book, and maybe what they can take away from it?
If you're in a situation and you have had a diagnosis and you've got, you know, a serious illness and you're really scared, buy this book. Have this book on your bedside table, because it's just the softest. It's like a hug in a book, actually. It's like, you know, you can pick it up and you don't have to, like, because you could look at that and think, oh my gosh, I'm not even a reader. I'm not going to read all that book. But you can dip in. You can just read a chapter, or you can read a section, and it, you know, you can find the bit you need at the time. And, you know, it's just a really good companion for the journey. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Raya. And with that, we're up for today.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And the insight, and your particular insight into this book. And I invite everyone who's watching us today to buy the book and have a go. It's a beautiful
Or if you have a
experience.
family member, you know, just for them, because it's for the family members too.
True. Thank you.
Thank you. Again. Yeah. Bye.